Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right now, right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it and I'd be able to deliver my best like this to your inbox on a daily basis. If you like these watches, you can see this one and 1,700 of its friends to purchase on thewatchbox.com. Buy, trade, and sell luxury watches on thewatchbox.com. So today we're discussing the 2010 SIHH novelty Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Openworked, really should be open wrought, reference 15305, part of the nearly deceased lineage of 39mm Royal Oaks. The Jumbo is the only remaining of the original case size. This watch is revered for its fit as well as its handsome, almost stunning melding of art and engineering. The 3129 caliber is the watch, but before we jump into the movement itself, let's talk about the fit and the feel. Now, it used to be that the Jumbo, the automatic 15300, the chronographs, just about all of the Royal Oaks were 39, with the exception of the midsize and the offshores. Well, in 2012, that changed. Now, the 15305 survived the 41mm trend for a while, but ultimately succumbed, and this original 39mm Openworked was produced for a relatively short period of time. Therefore, the watch is both beautiful and scarce. If you have a smaller wrist like mine, 16 centimeters in circumference, you're going to want the 39, not the 41. The rule with Royal Oaks is to always size down one size from what you'd normally wear. So 39 millimeters across the round of the case, not including the crown. The watch is 9.5 millimeters thick, and from lug to lug, 50 millimeters. If you include the solid extremities of the bracelet, the inflexible double intermediate links, you find that it actually flares 53 millimeters across the wrist. That's why I always say size down one size when buying a Royal Oak or an offshore. It is flat, however, and it will fit underneath any dress cuff thanks to the dramatically rounded bezel. Now, the bracelet is everything you would expect from AP and everything you would expect from Watchbox. First, from AP, you expect artisanal finish, hand-laid bevels, perfectly aligned satin, intermediate plots with polished flanks that you only see when you flex the bracelet, and of course, a combination of vertical satin on the flanks and longitudinal satin on the tops, broad channels underneath to avoid pinching skin or pulling hair, and you'll note the amount of daylight shining through from my baseboard to better aerate and ventilate the wrist on a hot day. Now, what you expect from Watchbox is condition. The first thing to go on an Audemars Piguet that's been poorly cared for and clumsily refinished is metal volume, and second, definition. As you can see, this one has full metal volume. First, the bolts are recessed within the bezel, which is always the hallmark of an original condition AP bezel, minimally if ever refinished, but also the bevels themselves as well as the creases are razor sharp, constrained, and even from side to side and end to end. That's what you want to see when buying a Royal Oak pre-owned. Now, the bracelet is beautifully made with a handsome taper that's easier to see than it is to feel. You can't feel the steps between the links because the tolerances are so tight, though you can see the curvature in the sweep. Screws used for sizing removable links, and a double folding clasp with twin trigger release, low in profile when closed. This is no dive clasp, so it's not going to cause undue damage to your desk or vice versa, but you have to release both triggers to open this clasp so it cannot accidentally pop open. Both media blasted and satin finished inside with a cradle shape to curve and trace the underside of your wrist. Nicely made, nicely done. The timepiece has all of the hallmarks of a Royal Oak. We can get real close here, maybe give ourselves a bit more light. First, the combination of curves and hard creases, a beautiful juxtaposition that works as well as the contrast between polished and satin finished elements. The octagonal bezel inspired by Royal Navy, British warships, and of course the inset hexagonal bezel bolts in white gold for the Royal Oak, steel for the offshore, flanking a sensational dial. Now, the watch is essentially one and the same as its caliber 3129 60-hour in-house automatic movement, 38 joules adjusted in 5 positions, beating away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. The wonder of the Openworked is that you can appreciate all of this handiwork and engineering from the dial side. If you buy this watch, also buy a loop system. Trust me, make sure they arrive on the same day. You will not regret it. One element that some will consider an upgrade, aside from the obvious, is the fact that there is no date to mar the aesthetic. So purists, rejoice. What you're looking at is a combination of skeletonization and then hand finishing. So the skeletonization removes the surplus material, leaving only a metallic snowflake of anthracite PVD coated bridges and plates. You'll also note that when I turn the watch flush to the camera, the immense amount of glint and gleam off the edges of the bridges. This shows you just how beautifully rounded and hand finished is the anglage about the edge of every surface, including the interior surfaces of the evacuated bridges. Let's see, can we get closer still and keep it in focus? Oh yes, we can. Now what you'll also like to know is that when you buy this watch, you are getting a higher standard of finish than on something like a 15400. And the reason for that is quite simply price and rarity. You get what you pay for with this, which means that not only is the skeletonization done by hand, not only is the anglage here done by hand, whereas it's mechanical on the 15400, but you'll find that interior angles, the toughest finishing assignment, creating a sharp cleft where two edges meet, the interior angles are all over this movement on both sides. 1 to 6 interior angles is considered to be superb and appropriate on something like a Geneva seal caliber. Now this isn't made in the city or canton of Geneva, but rest assured, that level of execution runneth over here, as there are perhaps dozens of interior angles to appreciate. The balance is Gyromax style, and if we can open up the bracelet, maybe we'll get a better look at the back of the watch. But the balance is Gyromax style, so free sprung with a full balance bridge. So even though this is skeletonized, it's still a full dual anchored balance bridge with shock protection to add a measure of durability. The free sprung architecture also allowing a very precise regulation, again adjusted in 5 positions like a chronometer, very precise with hacking or stop seconds. It's a full featured Royal Oak. It even features a screw down crown that preserves the basic watch's 50-meter water resistant. And yes, at the end of this video, there will be a loom shot because frankly, this watch deserves it. This is an all-purpose usable sports watch that just happens to be a bespoke work of art. You can see this one and you can make it your own on the watch box. And we're back with the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak 15305ST Openworked. As you can see, very few hints of the evacuation and artistry on the dial by night, but you can see all the indices as well as hours and minutes. See it by day on the watch box.